time in front of y'all. Yep, I got promoted. I got promoted to EMC VMware Alliances team, so it's a global thing. So it's a good thing for me. I needed to do something different, I think, because obviously everyone bought Veeam, so I did my job, right? So, yeah, so that's kind of the good and bad news, but it's good. It's I get to go to Istanbul, Turkey next year because of it, so I've never been there. So, Turkish bath for me, right? So everyone knows what the deal is with all these here, right? Everyone typically knows this from the backup and replication piece. If you have Microsoft System Center, you have MP that we offer. So that exposes all of the backup and replication as well as all the VMware infrastructure gets pulled into System Center. If you don't have that, we have Veeam 1, which is a part of the standalone product. That is basically a SQL database that goes and agentlessly pulls all the metrics off of your vCenter or Hyper-V, whichever or. And you can coexist with both of those as well. Now, how many people have been, well, I think I know. I think you just talked about it. How many people know about this? Does anybody know about that? What do you guys think about that? And it's free. Now, the thing, exactly. No, but I've talked to the higher ups, and this will never ever change. They may come out with an enterprise version to do a little bit more capabilities for some of those bigger, servers and clusters you may have, but it's free. But one of the things I like to point out is that once you go and take all of your physicals, where it's laptops or those one-off physical servers that you may have in the corner that you can't really, virtualize. Once you point the endpoint back up to a Veeam repository, a lot of goodness happens, right? So what happens is you can actually do some file level recoveries. You can do application item level recoveries from a physical box. And one of the other great byproducts is if you want to restore that disk, say the physical server truly had a hardware failure and you could not spin that guy up, say a controller or the motherboard crashed and you can't get a replacement, it will allow you to restore that physical disk as a VMDK. Right, Michelle?
Absolutely.
All right.
I was sticking to it.
All right. So it's a really cool feature. And they keep on doing more and more things with it. So all the awards. How many are we up to now for customers?
We are up to 165,000.
Okay. So it's a little outdated. So all the great awards. So this is an eye chart, but it's a reverse roadmap that most of you are accustomed to. Now, typically, what I do is through this presentation, I'll typically ask how many people are new to Access that are here today. No one? Everyone knows Access? Everyone's working with them? All right, that's good. I thought you had some net new customers here. So what I ask typically, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to ask you. Because I know, I heard you mention it, but you actually work for, who are you working with? Law firm. All right. So you have Veeam currently, yes? Right. So what I typically do for people that don't have Veeam, I could say almost anything up here, and you'd have to say, I guess he's saying the truth or whatever. But I'll usually take a customer and ask them what their, configuration time was, how long it took you to actually implement it. How much time did it take you to, get all your backups and everything dialed in, and how much time do you now spend with your backup product? Ready to go.
Let's see. I'm already getting ready for version 9. I'm waiting for the download to be available. It probably took, the longest part was downloading version 8. Mm-hmm. The implementation, probably 45 minutes. That was with tweaking all of my backup jobs.
Excellent. Now how much time do you have to go and babysit it?
I get an email every day and I look at that email and hit delete.
So, I mean,
it says success and that's it.
So as you can see, I mean, this is not me saying it. This is people that are actually using it, and I haven't gotten bitten yet, so that's actually pretty cool. So yeah, so version 8 update 2, how many people are at version 8 yet? And have you gone with the update 2 and all that goodness? All right, so update 2 kind of supports, I think, the version, vSphere 6 support is in update 2, if you are going to that. Endpoint, I think the integration's already there. And then we also have fast SCP for Azure, so if anyone's going up to the cloud, what we have done, I actually have a slide that I'll get to after that. So really the biggest thing to note from a Veeam perspective is there's no agents to maintain, right? So one less thing that you have to monitor and update and keep updated so your backups work. You don't have to do that anymore. Also, we are hardware agnostic, so it doesn't matter what you have. You can actually repurpose some old server and array that's about ready to go off the slow boat to China or whatever it is. So you have the ability to do that. And it really comes in the backup and replication server, a proxy, and then really any kind of targeted repository that you choose. So you can have as many as you want. You don't have to have just one. You can have, I've had people use USB drives all the way up to different various storage. And you can have as many as you want, and you have different backup jobs going to certain ones, and maybe some other backup jobs going to different drives. So it gives you, the customer, a lot of flexibility, right? And that's really what we're all about, is giving you the power to do whatever you have currently to save you money. So here's our claim to fame here, right? So you have your little, there it is, faint, but it's there. So you have your backup storage, right? Our repository, everything's compressed and deduped from us inline. So say you have a backup that goes bad or a VM in production that goes down. You have the ability now to take it, instead of just moving the whole VM and then turning it on, you can actually turn it on from the backup. So that alone saves you a ton of time, and you're back up and running. Because who knows, maybe your production storage is about ready to go belly up. You can actually run everything from your backup storage. It may not be as fast, obviously, right? But it's going to get your customers back up and running. And then you could do vMotion, or we have quick migration utility that we built if you don't have the license for it. The second thing that's kind of, I think it's one of the better things that we've done, is now take a backup file, and you could say I'm going to use last night's Active Directory, SQL, web server, and spin them up in a natted off, fenced off environment, and that's your test environment, as long as you have a host that can support spinning up those 3 VMs, 10 VMs, how many you're going to spin up. You could tweak those as well inside the interface. But this, in a sure backup job, what it does is typically a lot of people get audited saying, hey, can you prove that you actually can restore a VM? And a lot of folks are like, well, I haven't done that yet. But you can have this done every single week, every day, as many times as you want, because it'll spin up the VM, it'll do application port pings, it will turn on the OS, then it'll shut it down and then send you an email saying that this backup that you tested, if you have a problem, it is recoverable. So a lot of times this solves a lot of those issues that people are having. Any questions so far? We're good? Okay. And this is just kind of peeling the onion a little bit more on the behind the scenes with the virtual lab, the vSwitch, and creating out your little virtual environment. So you can actually physically associate from the virtual lab so people can get into it, test it, add patches, whatever you want. So, Explorers. So we have Exchange. Does anybody use this? Yeah? And what do you think?
Oh, it's great. It's awesome.
And I didn't pay you, so how much beer do I owe you?
I'm on Office 365 now, so it's
So you don't use it as much?
No.
Yeah, all right. Do you have Oracle?
no.
All right. Well,
But it's been great. Also have used it to people leave the firm and get a PST file from it. Not having to get off your Exchange server.
Yep.
So,
you just blow it away and just create a PST and save it for whatever. Yep. SharePoint, same thing. And the thing behind the scenes for this, what's happening is we're doing a file level recovery of the database. We're not even turning on the VM. So this is us saying from that backup, I want to do a file level recovery of the database, mount it within a couple minutes, and then go through it and restore the item that you want. or the table that you want. So same with Active Directory is new in version 8. So you can, one of the cool things here is you can actually do a compare. So you could say, I want to compare this to what's in production. And it's actually a very useful tool. A lot of times you're like, what changed? You know, what the hell's going on? SQL. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The SharePoint Explorer, is there any discussion about the vision that we have SQL Server in one box?
That's been a huge discussion.
Yeah.
Yep. No, and
Two large installations where it's going to be in one box.
right. And I think because we have the Explorer for SQL, I'm not sure whether or not they're with version 9 they're actually going to come out with something that's meant for that clustered kind of scenario. Because you're right. It is a lot of times people have their SQL farms and then they'll have their SharePoint and they're kind of separated. So backing them up is a little challenging. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So. But you have the ability here with SQL, and one of the features I like, and the reason why I think this is huge, is because typically most SQL DBAs will keep their own backup storage, and they want to do their own thing. They don't want you to touch their stuff. This is what changed. We now back up the logs, and you can replay the logs, and that's kind of why they do what they do, is because they have the backup logs on their backup. Then you could fine-tune it to an existing, what was changed. An inserted row that I did. I want to just get rid of that. And you're done. So this makes it a lot simpler. And it's also meant to try to get back some of that storage and having them kind of being in charge of it and having it more in a central location for whatever reason. Replication and failover. One of the features I typically point out for this is the re-IP. So when you go from your production site A to your DR site, everything at your DR site is a different IP and DNS scheme, right? So what we do is we give you the ability to re-IP it and do network mapping so that if you did have to turn it on, it knew what IP and DNS to take on. So you're not fat fingering, in the middle of the night when you're tired and you're trying to figure out what I should put in there, and when I spin it up, why isn't it working? It's typically human error. So this kind of saves that. We have some failover plans as well. WAN acceleration. So if you go with the Enterprise Plus edition, you get it. And what it does, it's, you get the marketing folks say it's 50 times faster, but it's really, we're sending less data because what we're doing is comparing the two caches on either side to say, do you have this? No. Okay, just send that one block over, not the whole thing again. So that's what gets it to go faster. Cloud Connect. So this is very simple. This maybe takes you a whole about 10 minutes to set up. And this could be for any cloud, so we're cloud agnostic as well. But if you have a service provider that has Veeam installed at their site, that gives you a whole nother level of restore capabilities. So you don't have to go and just pull all the data down and then do your recovery. If they have infrastructure as a service there, if they have the ability to spin up that VM at their site, then you could do file level recoveries through their cloud gateway. So it makes it very simple. 10 minutes, and then it's also meant to be very, how do I want to say it here? More of a multi-tenant kind of environment, so the security's there, so you don't have to worry about you messing around, mixing the streams, if you will. So that's that. Fast SCP for Azure. Again, this is free. Again, all the tools that we give you are free. So if you do go to Azure, it gives you the ability, so if somebody's constantly going back and forth with the cloud with changes, say they want to run something in the cloud, this gives you the ability to copy the files back and forth very quickly at a block level kind of replication. Tape support, end-to-end encryption. Everyone's been asking for that. We put that in there. Enterprise Manager. This is if you want to do a self-service portal for your end users. So you can have a help desk be able to restore all the files and such that they want. You also have the ability to delegate roles. So version 8 allows you to have Exchange, and SQL admins give them the ability to come here and get what they want without having to bother you. So it's, again, self-service there. And that's the delegated rights as well. This is new with version 9 coming out. We are now integrating with EMC Snapshot. Since I am now EMC Alliance guy, I have to put this up here. But if you have VNX or VNXE and you have all your data stores living there, we now can leverage that. So along with HP 3PAR, NetApps, now EMC's come into play, which I thought never would happen, but it's happening. So this is going to also allow you to leverage their snapshot technology, much like the 3PAR and the NetApps scenario. Yeah, just put that in there. And this is just kind of the EMC, but this is the same with the 3PARs and the NetApps. So you can actually leverage the snapshots that are there. So say I install Veeam, and I already had a pre-existing VNX set up with snapshots enabled and all that. As soon as I plug in Veeam and point to the storage, I can leverage that snapshot restores, even though I didn't initiate the snapshot or do the backup for it. So that's kind of the cool feature that we bring to the table. And you could do the Veeam Explorers as well without having to have done the backup. Yes, boilerplate stuff. All right, so storage snapshots, here's a quick little view of what it is, right? So you get the volume storage there, the snapshot, and we can sit there and go and point to that volume snapshot and restore from it, or to the normal storage. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Any questions so far? I'm almost done here. Good, no questions. Okay, yeah. Explore snapshots, data domain, DNX, we already went through all this. All right, so this is kind of what it looks like. This one's more important to show. So this, I believe this is with the NetApp, but it's similar with all the other vendors. So these are snapshots, they're crash consistent that already exist. I'm just looking at them and being able to do recover options from those pre-existing snapshots that I had nothing to do with. So I can see them, restore from them. Gives you a lot more recover points, right, than you used to have. Instead of having, I just backed up that night, now I can leverage all those snapshots that have been going on throughout the day, which are typically 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe keep four pieces of it throughout the day, and they just overwrite each other. So you got like 20 minutes of possible lost data for your customers, so it actually improves your SLAs, it improves all that stuff. Endpoint, another eye chart, but again, full backups, volume level. So as soon as you install it on your laptop, it's going to ask you to create an ISO and then point to a Veeam repository or whatever else you want. It gives you throttling and scheduling and all that good stuff. So I should ask that question, how many ways or what's the number of ways that Veeam can restore your data? It's a trick question. It's up there somewhere. Ah, there you go. So 47 ways. I think now with the EMC integration, it's going to go up. Snapshots, same thing, just blown in there. So this is getting to our monitoring side of things. So if you went with our availability suite, it's a bundled solution. So if you have Veeam Backup Replication, does all your app to VM, and then Veeam One will give you the monitoring and reporting for your VMs, Hyper-V or vSphere. And if you do go with System Center, we have the management pack that pulls all those metrics into one spot. And Veeam One, again, is just more of a multi-tenancy and reporting tool that most of the engineers will testify works very well if you're going to do an assessment or you're trying to figure out change rate, et cetera. MP I talked about. And here's the additions. I don't think I've ever been a part of standard because they typically want these features in Enterprise. And then if you go to Enterprise Plus, you get Win acceleration. If you have storage snapshots, you'd want that. And then also the self-service portal is there. Same Enterprise and Enterprise Plus for management pack additions. And this is coming on. This is our second year doing it. I don't know if anyone's interested, but we have a 3-day hands-on lab for your VM CE, so a Veeam certification. You'd have to go to Pearson VUE afterwards, but you get video on demand when you leave, but you get to go through the class, and you get you can have all the information and then go back and take the test and you're good. And then afterwards, we have all of our vendors. What else? Anything else you want to add to that?
Party,
Our parties are legendary.
big pavilion.
You do remember what happened to the last place. The pool caught on fire. How does that happen? But
Big green chandelier to hang on.
I don't know what happened there, but yeah, they're still looking for us. But we went to a different hotel this year, so we should be good. So yeah, so that's really good. And that's really it. How am I doing on time? I haven't even been watching. Right on the numbers? Oh, God, I love this place. All right, so thank you, everyone.